Hello, thank you for viewing this presentation on trauma-informed spiritual practice. My name is Jesse Eugene Harriet. I'm an ordained minister, and I serve as the pastor of Unity of Birmingham in Birmingham, Alabama. I am currently completing seminary studies with the Unity Institute and Seminary in Kansas City, Missouri for an additional ordination. And I have a master's degree and graduate degree from Kaiser University. Thank you for listening. Now, trauma-informed spiritual practice embraces the viewpoint that participants in small communities of learning and development, such as faith communities, schools, religious institutions, and families, have different needs. In a post-COVID society, research has shown that anxiety has seemed to risen to all-time highs in America. What may be equally true is more people are finally becoming aware that engaging the world requires an understanding of the needs of communities one may find themselves belonging to. Touch, hugs, and direct contact in interpersonal relationships within communities should be re-examined to include a strong awareness of consent at the initial point of contact and throughout the period of engagement, from hello to goodbye. The likelihood of triggering unwanted feelings of anxiety, social awkwardness, social anxiety, and additional anxieties forces additional self-regulation in an extroverted world. Even though those hugs and direct conversations are both in-person and sometimes indirect, normal greeting exercises have been considered appropriate methods of engaging known and unknown individuals. However, they don't oftentimes serve the needs of the individuals that they have been projected onto. Meaning, just because an individual walks into your space, it does not mean you have the right to touch them or hug them. Sometimes your words are enough. And this is an ad lib from my abstract. My apologies. Continuing, COVID protocols have sparked a new interest in how to engage communities in a world where the variety of psychological experiences and trauma are diverse. Therefore, it is essential to explore the personality and psychological needs of individuals that make up a community at the onset of the initial encounter, regardless if there is a common relationship between those that are attempting to conduct a standard greeting. And this practice or this project was created in my own personal experience as a pastor of a small community of faith. I noticed changes in my community pre and post COVID. And so I decided to conduct a research project based on my experience as a pastor and watching individuals navigate through pre and post COVID, developing friendships and attachments and learning how to integrate back into community again in a post-COVID society. The background content of this research paper and presentation suggests that trauma-informed spiritual practice is becoming more recognized as a valuable approach for individuals who have experienced trauma. Individuals who have experienced trauma are often searching for healing, wholeness, and meaning in life. Therefore, incorporating trauma-informed approaches into spiritual practice can actually provide a support and healing environment. According to the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, SAMHSA, trauma-informed approaches recognize the impact of trauma on individual lives and behavior. It promotes healing and resilience and reduces the likelihood of re-traumatization. Trauma-informed, and this was in 2014, in which SAMHSA published this study. Trauma-informed approaches are focused on holistic and client-centered perspectives, which emphasize safety, trust, choice, collaboration, and empowerment. And that was suggested by Hodis in 2006. Hodis, Harris, and Follett. Spiritual practice can be defined as a range of activities and practices that support the spiritual dimension of human existence, including prayer, meditation, mindfulness, rituals, and community involvement, according to Coyne 2010. Spiritual practice is often a source of meaning, purpose, and connection for individuals. Combining trauma-informed approaches and spiritual practices can assist individuals in exploring and understanding their trauma experiences while also creating a safe and supportive space for healing. This approach acknowledges the interconnectedness of body, mind, and spirit and incorporates a range of techniques to support healing, including mindfulness, somatic awareness, creative expression, and ritual, according to Raja, 2017. In discussion, when providing trauma-informed spiritual care to individuals, it is important to consider several ethical considerations. According to Cook et al., 2005, these considerations can include the following. Number one, the importance of informed consent. It is important to ensure that the individuals understands the implications and potential risks of engaging in spiritual care of any kind, and that they have given informed consent to participate. It is also important to recognize that in any group setting, whether it be schools, communities of faith, or settings in homes among friends, that is, consent is absolutely important. Number two, the importance of cultural and spiritual sensitivity. When providing spiritual care, for example, it is essential to understand and respect the individual's cultural and spiritual background and to avoid imposing any particular belief system on them. Number three, the importance of trauma sensitivity. Individuals who have experienced trauma may have unique spiritual needs and challenges, and it is crucial to be sensitive to those issues and to avoid causing further harm. And again, these discussion points can also be applied to educational settings, community centers, centers of faith, or communities where individuals gather for interpersonal and social connection. Number four, the importance of confidentiality. It is essential to maintain the confidentiality of any information shared by the individual during spiritual care sessions in order to protect their privacy and promote trust. And again, this can also be applied to interpersonal connections as well. And number five, the importance of ongoing assessment and reevaluation. Spiritual care should be an ongoing process that is periodically assessed and reevaluated in order to ensure that it is meeting the individual's needs and goals. So overall, providing trauma-informed spiritual care requires a deep understanding of the individual's unique needs and challenges, as well as commitment to ethical principles of informed consent, cultural sensitivity, trauma sensitivity, confidentiality, and ongoing assessment. And so this project or this research paper is based on trauma-informed spiritual practice and was gathered through an in-depth study on a community and the experience of a local pastor in a post-COVID society as individuals were struggling to reestablish interpersonal bonds, and while navigating spiritual care, those bonds were being reassessed and reevaluated. And so navigating social awkwardness, social anxiety, and attempting to figure out what it means to be a community in a post-COVID world, it's important that specifically communities of faith that gather in person in any day of the week really pay attention to healthy practices, healthy consent practices, and those practices will help to mitigate some of the awkwardness that arises as a result of social anxiety in a post-COVID world. And references were Harris, Fallett, in their 2012 study, published under the title of Envisioning a Trauma-Informed Service System, a Vital Paradigm Shift. They published it in New Directions for Mental Health Services, 2012. Hodis, in 2006, A Trauma-Informed Approach to the Psychiatric Treatment of Immigrants, which was published in the Journal of Psychiatric Practice. Kearney in 2018, Mindfulness-Based Interventions for Individuals with PTSD, and D.B. Flattery and R.F. Davis, III's Handbook of DSM-5 Disorders in Children and Adolescents, Springer International Publishing. Coing in 2010 was an additional reference. Spirituality and Health, and J.P. Barr and J.W. Spica, Psychology, Religion, and Spirituality, published by Nova Science Publishers. Krippner in 2016, The Role of Ritual in Healing, Spirituality, and Religious Transformation, which was published in the Journal of Humanistic Psychology. Malchiotti in 2012, Creative Interventions with Traumatized Children, published by Guilford Press. Ogden Minton and Payne in 2006 published a study entitled Trauma in the Body, a Sensory Motor Approach to Psychotherapy, published by the W. Norton and Company. Raja in 2017 published a study entitled Spirituality, Trauma, and Recovery, an Integrative Approach. And B.J. Dillard writes, Positive Clinical Psychology, an Introduction to Contextual Psychology of Human Strengths and Flourishing, pages 285 to 312, published by John Wiley and Sons. And then the final reference was Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, SAMHSA. In 2014, they published SAMHSA's concept of trauma and guidance for trauma-informed approaches in Rockville, Maryland. Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration was the publisher. Thank you again for listening to this presentation. If you have any questions or comments, please post in the discussion. I look forward to speaking to you. Thank you again for accepting my proposal and my submission. This has been a wonderful experience, and I look forward to presenting at future events. Thank you.